Hello and welcome to a new video. This is going to be about abusing mechanics in 3.25 to scale a lot of damage, and right off the bat we're going to be hitting really hard with some Warden mechanics and Warden tech. So gain 1% of lightning damage as extra cold damage per 2% shock effect on the enemy. They explicitly stated that the taming was getting nerfed, however this is not getting changed whatsoever. So before, you used to be able to get around 25% lightning damage as extra cold comfortably without investing into max shock, but for a hit based build you're going to be able to cap this. Additionally, this has mana regeneration rate on it, which is going to play a role into the next item. Stormfire. Stormfire gives you the mod lightning damage can ignite. This unfortunately becomes a dead mod because you would not be able to ignite the enemies. However, it does have mana regeneration rate. So for a build that is using like tinctures on a Warden and scaling Scorch as well as just flat lightning damage, this is potentially pretty good because these two items combined would give you 100% increased mana regen, in addition to your lightning damage can Scorch. Shorks? Yeah, I guess Shock and Scorch. So that's very, very, very powerful. And then on top of that, you gain up to 50% of your lightning damage as extra cold. And then the next thing, which scales both of those mechanics to the moon and back if you can expend enough mana, is Sigil of Power. This was not changed in 3.25, and this is a great defensive buff if you can cap it at max 4 stages, and it gives you an insane amount of added lightning damage. And for my build that I plan on running, I believe a level 10 is very comfortably capped. One thing to note is that it takes... The only reason that I remember stuff like this is because I read a lot of these fucking things. Sigil of Power now has an internal cooldown on stage generation, taking 2.5 seconds to fully charge. Additionally, when it is initially placed, it counts as having 1 charge. And then if your mana cost is immediately high enough, it can go into stage 2 immediately. So the fastest time that you can get is 2.5 seconds for a maximum of 4 stages Sigil of Power. So it does take 1 second to gain an additional stage after that. So the placing of it does not count as like gaining a stage, it just counts as being placed, but it starts out with a base of 1 stage. A lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't know about these things. So for my build, a level 10 would give me up to around 200, and 6 times 4 is 24. So around 240-ish top end lightning damage. Well, actually 250 something. And then the enemy would deal 14 plus 4, so 18% less damage. And then this in conjunction with all the new additive damage scaling. So for example, Reeve, the Vol Reeve is going to be doing like 630% damage scaling. So 630% of 240. This is already like way better than Wrath. And it literally just has an opportunity cost of a socket and mechanical know-how to take advantage of it. So depending on your build, obviously this is a high int cost, this is a high mana cost that you need to expend. Some people are already like, I need to reserve all my auras to get my damage. Well, not necessarily. You can have some unreserved mana and still be able to like have a high mana cost and take advantage of different mechanics. So just understand how other mechanics work in the game, and you can skyrocket your damage to the moon. So another thing is Bone Chill for any cold builds. This will increase your damage by 10% as a base, but obviously the Bone Chill support, it gives you increased effective chill. So if you link it to a Frostblink, which leaves behind chilled ground, which is a base of 10%, you would gain anywhere from like, let's say you can only equip a level 1 Frostblink and a like level 1 Bone Chill support. So if you link Frostblink to Bone Chill at level 1, both level 1, you gain 12% more cold damage, as long as you are using the Frostblink on the enemy. and the base duration is 3 seconds. So yes, it's short. However, if you're just going in to pump some damage and then like leap slamming out, you're going to be fine. Or you can frost blink like around the enemy to consistently hit it, because it leaves around a chilled ground where you were at and where you are going. So depending on your build, this may be a pretty big benefit. And then the last thing is a Lightpoacher. Lightpoacher is a really complicated mechanic where you can basically disable the expenditure of the charges as well as increase the charge duration. I have abused this in the past with some builds. It's not common to use Lightpoacher because the helmet slot is so competitive. However, for any Fizz as extra build, this is very powerful. The charge masteries will increase the duration of it, so Swift Killer and the charge mastery, potentially allowing you to have really high uptime even on bosses. So things like the Shaper, what you would do is you would take your tincture out, put the Worthing Jar in, go to like kill the one side boss, I'm forgetting his name, and then go back into the Shaper fight. And then once he's done yapping, you pop your Worthing Jars, you kill the mobs, you then gain your Lightpoacher stacks, and then you replace the Worthing Jar with your tincture, and you will be fine. Additionally, what you would have to do is play a CI or low life build. What you do is you put Life Tap and Archmage in the Lightpoacher, and that causes Spirit Burst to have a very high life cost. And if you are CI, obviously you can't use it. And then if you are a low life build and have less life than the Lightpoacher requirement, you will not be able to utilize it either. So it'll just be deactivated and you will never expend the charges. And as long as you are like a Trickster with Swift Killer or take the Charge Mastery, you'll have very high uptime of the charges. And additionally, you can use Agnostic with degenning your mana through Righteous Fire or Blood Rage, or you can use Gruthgal's Pelt to disable the ability to use the Lightpoacher. If you were to do something like the insufficient mana stuff, you either have to life tap your skill or use Soul Taker in order to fund your attack spending. So I don't think anybody's going to be using Soul Taker Agnostic Lightpoacher, but that's a potential build right there if anybody wants to go down that path. So that's it for this video. I hope this kind of opens up your eyes to some of the different damage scaling. I definitely think that this is going to be a mainstay combo here for 3.25, especially with like this mana regen in conjunction with Sigil of Power, and then tinctures degenning your mana on top of like your leech. I just think this is so busted. I haven't POB'd with it, but the fact that like this is just an opportunity cost of sockets with like gear pressure and then Sigil of Power, like it's just stupid. You can definitely make a Trinity build using Replica Heat Shiver, Stormfire so that you can get Scorch and Sigil of Power, and then do like some funky weird mechanics like where you because the shock effect is only 2%, you can still use one Call of the Brotherhood and convert your lightning damage to cold, and then you can have a good decent enough split that way. Additionally, like you're only gonna need like 20% lightning damage in order to gain this benefit. So literally just like Sigil of Power, like if you just wanted to use the interaction, like fully converting your lightning damage to cold, even if you were to not use Stormfire and use 2 of the Call of the Brotherhoods, if you didn't quality it, you'd still have like 20% lightning damage. If you quality it, I think you have like 4% lightning damage. That 4%, depending on your build, might be enough to apply a 2% shock effect, but it's just so... some of the stuff is just silly and busted. So that's it for this video. I hope this opens up some people's eyes to some of the interesting game mechanics that are going to be available for you in 3.25. Obviously, don't tell GGG. We don't want things nerfed around here. See ya. Peace.